War. War never changes.
All right, we are live. Welcome back to the War Never Changes podcast. I am joined, as always, the co-host with the most, the Call of Duty Sniper Extreme, the Forza 4 Racing Champion, Lord Philip McCracken. Phil, how are you doing today, sir?
Good. I caught like 3 words of that because as soon as you started talking, the feed failed and your audio went out.
Do I sound okay? Do I need to start over?
You sound and look perfect now, but I missed that whole introduction. I heard Snipe King, and that was it.
You were the Snipe King, the Forza 4 champion, Lord Philip McCracken. Now, we had to take a week off last week because Phil had an owie, but he's better now, we think. Full facial reconstructive surgery. They give you that?
Yeah, I have my tooth. You want to see it? It's
no.
Gross. It's really gross.
What? What are you gonna? Is that like a necklace?
Yeah.
Do you like wear it or what?
I take it with me everywhere, buddy. He's my little smiley buddy.
Wow. What's the goal of like? What are we doing with this? You gonna like bronze it or what?
Yeah, I'll probably dip it in gold. Try to attract a leprechaun with it. I don't know.
Is that what they do? So my friend just he said the going rate for a tooth fairy is up to like $10 now.
Damn.
I know, inflation. When I was a kid, I got like $1, maybe.
Wow. When I was a kid, I was lucky if I got to go to the dentist.
Well, when I was a kid, I was lucky if I got to sleep in a bed. So there you go.
You had a bed? Yeah. I'll Deadpool this with you. I will.
So, listen, I'm glad you're back and well. We missed you last week. We took a break off. And boy, do we have a lot to unpack today. Today was the Xbox Games Showcase. And going into this, I was definitely nervous. What are we looking at? Oh, a trash can. I was like, what the hell? You have props for everything. Wow, my goodness. This is good. This is good. I mean, the only thing I have is the tried and true PlayStation wallet, which may come in handy. We'll see.
Is that your real wallet?
That's my real wallet. This is my real wallet. And yeah, the problem is it's like a big piece of metal. I don't know if you could see like a side view, but it's like thick. So when you put it in your pocket, it's like you're sitting on a piece of steel.
You should be used to sitting on pieces of steel.
Listen here. I want to tell you something. Microsoft, I'm going to just say this to everybody watching because we are definitely gaining traction. Our last video, I think, had like 35 viewers, which was awesome. So we're getting there, man. You know, listen, it's slow but steady. I want to say this to the people watching at home. I am going to really shit hard on Xbox. So if you are a fan, and listen, look, I want you to see what I'm wearing, okay? This is the Master Chief Miami Vice shirt. Oh, wrong way. Hold on. Sorry. Hold on. Everything's backwards, okay? I am repping the Master Chief. I got Sea of Thieves on the wall behind me. I love certain Xbox games. But I'm going to say this, and then we can get into the whole show. This was the biggest, most colossal failure. Don Matrick is somewhere rolling in $100 bills, laughing hysterically, saying, I didn't even fuck those guys that hard.
No, Don Matrick was worse. You know, stop it. What Don Matrick did was worse. However, if we took a bunch of random pictures of Xbox games and we put them in this trash can and lit it on fire, that would be a better presentation, also more entertaining.
All right. Well, to be fair, they did. And I'm going to skip the pre-show stuff with Jeff Keighley. That really wasn't very exciting to me. There wasn't a lot there that I thought was worth talking about. The show proper begins with my beloved Spartan 117, the Master Chief, in Halo Infinite. Now, I love Halo. Like, love it, love it, love it. And I could not contain, like, I won't say I cried when this came on, but I definitely just got like goosebumps, and I definitely teared up a little. Like, not actual tears came down, but I definitely was like, I was feeling it. You know what I mean? I needed this in my life. And I think for the most part, they delivered on this. What do you think about Halo Infinite?
I am super excited. I, my viewing experience was different than yours. We're not going to talk about it because it's illegal, mostly. Um, foreshadowing. I thought it was great. I'm super excited for Halo Infinite. I thought that it looked great. I'm interested in the storyline. I think that they could have done a little bit more than drive around in a warthog and kill all the derpy enemies. Like, every 5 seconds, I heard like some derpy ass noise coming from the screen as I glanced down at the screen I was watching, and it was a little anticlimactic for me.
So what I loved about it was that it was really a throwback, not just from the box art, but just the feeling of it was a throwback to those exciting moments. I think everybody can remember the famous level from the original Halo, the Silent Cartographer, where you fly down on the Pelican and there's just a field of enemies in front of you. And it was just so exciting. There was a beach off to your side, there was a warthog over here, there was mountains, there was a lot to see and do. I got that vibe instantly watching this trailer. Seeing that it's open world, or at least semi-open world, gives me hope. The only thing I'm a little down on is the grappling hook. I don't really feel like a super soldier in the year 2500 would be using a rope connected to his arm to like get around. But other than that, this is what I need in my life. I'm very excited for this game, and it's going to look amazing on my computer, and I'm going to play the absolute hell out of it.
What do you want him to use to get places, to climb?
So there was a lot of, it's funny. There was a lot of arguments on Halo 5 Guardians regarding the Spartan abilities, particularly sprint, the jetpack, Spartan ground pound, all things that I really loved. If you remember, Halo Reach had a jetpack, which was a cooldown item, so you can get it and you used it for a couple seconds, and then it would kind of like peter out, and you'd have to let it recharge. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him climbing. I'm okay with him using more some kind of Promethean technology, teleporting, hard light from the Covenant. It just seems like you got this guy in the future, this awesome spacesuit, genetically engineered soldier, and he's gonna go like this and climb up a little rope. Like, it just doesn't. It just didn't feel like, it didn't vibe with anything, and I don't know where the Halo team, Chris Lee, who I met twice, the lead designer, I don't know. I'm a fan, dude. I am a fan. I am telling you. Like, I was like, why of all things? Like, he's sitting in his office, like, you know what we need? We need a grappling hook. I'm like, no, you don't.
You know what, Jim? People at home, you know what Jim wants? You know how Jim wants Spartan 117 to get onto the top of top buildings? He wants a dick launcher that just unfolds from the guy's right thigh, and it aims up and goes poof, and it just hauls him up like this. Like, crotch first. That's how he wants his
yes,
climb tall buildings.
Yes, because they are badass. Especially the Spartan 2 program. And I could spend hours talking about why the Spartan 2s are the best Spartans. But the Spartan 2 program, this guy is like genetically modified to be, he's like 7.5 feet tall. He weighs like 600 pounds without his armor. Almost a ton with his armor. Like, you're telling me a little rope is going to get this guy around? Like, it just doesn't make sense. And as an engineer, it pisses me off. Yeah, it's just not right.
Hey, and that little string is probably made of carbotanium.
Okay, well, then in that case, I stand corrected, but not beating up the hook shot so much. I will say though, it definitely hit the right vibes. I love the sound effects. I love the weapon models. I love all the new weapons that are in the game. There was a slew of them. As a matter of fact, you probably haven't seen it yet, but I did a 20 or so minute video earlier today breaking down all the weapons and the lore of the trailer so that people could follow along at home. Because don't you dare yawn at me. This is important, bitch. Cut it out. You stand at attention and respect your elders because this is important. And the truth is this, Phil. This is the truth. After this trailer came out, the conference should have ended.
Yeah. You know how the conference should have ended? With the giant, like, prosthetic Prometheus dick launcher. Like, just yanking him up into a cutscene. He gets to the top of the building. Wow. We'll see you later or whatever. That should have been it.
It was majorly disappointing that there was no multiplayer. I know they said it's coming later, but boy, we are really close to launch. And if this is going to be the game that sells the Series X, which is the only game really right now, these guys need to bring everything guns blazing. And as phenomenal as this trailer was, and as much as I love it and I cannot wait to get this thing, it wasn't enough to save this conference. And from here on out, this whole thing became just a joke, just a straight joke.
Yeah, the Halo reveal should have been at the end. It could have totally changed the way I felt about it. I still would have thought it was trash, but ending on a note like that, I would have left with a better feeling than I did with whatever the last console launch exclusive, whatever that last game was. I don't even remember.
Fable. We'll get to that.
Fable? Okay, then I didn't see the whole thing, because now I'm excited about Fable.
All right, so maybe that's a great finale, but what we'll do is we'll try to go in order, so when I do my timestamps later tonight, we can just have all the shows in order. But I'll just say in closing on Halo, I am a huge Halo fan, as I think I've mentioned now like 600 times. And I love the character redesign. I love the direction they went. I'm excited that they listened to fan feedback and decided to make this a more open world experience. They got away from the linear stuff. And I hope that this game is a platform game, as they've kind of indicated. And I hope that this is a game we're still talking about in 2 or 3 years. Most Halo games have a very short shelf life. Maybe Halo 2 and 3 are kind of an exception, but really Halo 4, Halo Infinite, Halo Reach, they died on the vine very rapidly. And I want Halo to be a game that is celebrated because I think it's something that is really phenomenal. But we'll see. All right, so next they moved on to State of Decay 3. And this is, to me, where the show started to just fall apart. Really. And the reason why I think, as I fix your camera, is this was the beginning of just CGI. There was just a lot of CGI, as a matter of fact. Yeah. We didn't see a lot of gameplay here. And from here on out was a lot of trailers. Yeah. And that was really frustrating.
I can almost see the way that your brain reacted with that transition. Halo jizz, Halo jizz, Halo jizz. This isn't Halo. This isn't Halo. I got to get the fuck out of here. That's how your brain. That's how your. There's a woman screaming into the darkness. We need to leave.
Go. Yes and no. I wanted to see what I expected out of this, and maybe it's my own fault because I just hyped myself up, even though we had talked about this on previous episodes of this very show, that we thought Microsoft was not going to be able to bring it. We were making fun of this conference before it even started. And I guess I read into the tweets from Phil Spencer and Major Nelson and all of the Halo community, and I started to believe that they were going to pull this quick one out of nowhere. And they were going to convince me that Microsoft was a company that really was going to fight PlayStation and bring their A game. And they did not do that. And when we started to get into these CGI trailers after CGI trailer, it really lost a lot of steam, and it reminded me of that really bad event we had before where Microsoft promised all this gameplay and we never got anything.
Yeah, we got a screeching deer and Jack Black for some reason.
Yeah, that was. We'll get to Psychonauts in a minute.
Yeah, let's not skip ahead. I just had to throw that out there.
Okay, so have you played the other State of Decay games?
No, I don't do zombie games.
All right. They are very poorly optimized games. And I know you say, oh, Jim, here you go with the frame rate thing again. These games would be, if you put this game next to a 360 game, the 360 game would look like the next generation title. These are buggy, they're clippy, they're laggy, the sound effects cut out. Cut out. I mean cut out. I mean like you're driving your car and then the sound is gone. It's gone. But you're still driving. It's just a horrible, horrible game. And I don't know if like Undead Labs doesn't know how to code or what, but these games are just trash. So I see this, just whatever. Like, yeah, it's good. Just send it. They don't care. They don't care. It's on Game Pass. What ends up happening though is when you release this really cool CGI trailer and then they show you the logo State of Decay, it's like, this isn't that. This has never been that. So until I actually see gameplay, I am definitely a hard pass on this. And I know it's free on Game Pass, but I'm still a hard pass.
Still a hard pass, he says. Hey man, I can't argue with that. I agree totally. I feel like their engineers are just like code. No, I'm using Python. C+, what? I feel like these are the kind of things that happen in their studios when they're making a game.
Halfway through the game, they're like, wait a minute, you're making a game? Yeah, it's like, oh, shit.
I thought this was an Arby's commercial.
So then we moved on to Forza Motorsport, which was interesting that they dropped the number. And this is when I started to kind of click in my head, even though we had State of Decay 3. That's okay. We were starting to drop the numbers. We didn't have a Halo proper number. We had Forza Motorsport. And didn't see a whole lot there, but you're the car guy, so I want to hear from you. Like, what did this do for you?
What this did for me was show me the side of a race car and a bunch of helmets and guys walking around. That's what it showed me. And then, like, some cars cresting over a hill. Looked beautiful. But this is a game that I probably won't play unless you insist upon it.
I mean, early in development, that's what they said. They were very clear on that this is early in development. So you're probably not going to get your hands on this for a good 2 to 3 years. Which makes me wonder, like, what have these guys been doing since Forza Motorsport, the previous Forza Motorsport came out? And since Horizon came out, which I know is kind of a subset of the studio, but I think it just speaks as a whole, and this is really, to me, like one of their flagpole, tentpole, whatever the word is. This is one of the Xbox franchises, right? You know, you think like Halo, Gears, Forza are probably like the 3 pillars on which Microsoft is built, I would say, to me. Them not having this game at launch of a console, or to have more to show of this game as a competition to Gran Turismo, which is Sony's attempt at trying to be a better game than this, it's really embarrassing that we are not entering this launch with any kind of racing games or anything modern outside of racing games that you and I are enjoying from 2 or 3 years ago.
I think it's embarrassing that there's not going to be a current installment of Gears. I think that the idea that they barely had a 30-second trailer to show us for Forza, I believe that was inexcusable. I don't know who's telling Phil Spencer that they can get by purely on 343 Studios and Halo, but they're wrong. They're wrong. They're really wrong. They can't just get by with Halo, and I don't know what they're thinking, and I don't know what they're doing. But I was equally perplexed when I heard this is early in development. I thought, so what? 2 years? Like, what the console will be irrelevant by then.
I would agree with you. When these console launches do work their way out, and in general, I think as a general rule, console launches usually are a little weaker on games, and they've always kind of been that way. It takes time for third-party studios to kind of get their feet wet. It takes time for studios, in-house studios, to really understand kind of what makes the console tick, to get better graphics, to get, you look at like Last of Us 2, Marvel. It took really the whole generation for us to get there. But when you're getting ready for a console launch, you have to have a few games ready to go. You have to have something for everyone. And really, I think that's where Sony nailed it. And they said, look, we got this game, this game, this game, this game. They're all going to be coming out at the same time. You pick the one you like. And over on the Microsoft side, all we got really was, hey, Halo's really cool. We're going to show you a trailer. We're going to show you gameplay. This game's coming out at launch. Hope you enjoyed it, because everything else you see, we're not going to tell you much about. You're going to get a trailer. Like, you could guess that Forza's about racing. Well, of course it is. But what's so unique about it? Is it new tracks? Is it new cars? What makes this game tick? And that little trailer doesn't really get you going enough that makes you say, yes, I need to run out and buy this thing because I need to have that.
Yeah. Sony's over here like, do you identify as an angsty teenage dinosaur? We've got a game for that. Do you want to be a bug, but also a cheeseburger somehow, and be eaten and then turn into that? Man, have we got the game for you? It's like Xbox is like, we have Halo. We have Halo. Don't look at anything else. Here's Halo. Halo.
Do you like aliens? We like aliens. I mean, we don't like aliens. We will shoot the aliens. You shoot the aliens. Nano.
Let's make a big deal out of this armor.
Yeah, you're right. It's baffling to me. I'm looking through the next few games, and there's nothing here that really got me excited. Everwild seemed interesting, but no gameplay, no sense of what this was going to be about. It looked pretty. It's by Rare, who made Sea of Thieves. That kind of art style looks pretty.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it's about. Is it a strategy game? Is it a shooter? Is it story, like a moving comic? Like, what is this thing? Nobody knows.
No idea. Jugs McGee came out, and she's like, thank you to everyone who's believed in us, and I'm so proud of the community that we've built around this game no one knows anything about.
Yeah, that was weird.
Rare is too good for that. Rare should know better. A studio like that should know better, really.
Yeah, no, you're right. Whenever they would like teleport somewhere, like we're now on location in Iceland, where I'm gonna jump ahead to Hellblade because I'm skipping all the other ones. But I do want to come back to Avowed. But let me go to Hellblade first. We're now gonna jump to Iceland, where we're taking photos of the ice caps, and you can watch that documentary because our game's gonna have ice caps in it. But we're not gonna talk about our game. Go watch the documentary. I'm like, if that is your best foot forward, you guys are royally screwed. Royally.
Maybe spend less time making a documentary and make a fucking game.
Did you play Hellblade? I'm curious.
No.
All right, so I don't want to give away the story because it's actually a really good game. Hellblade ends in a way that it's the end. I don't want to give away more than that because I don't want to spoil it, because I think people should play it. There should not be a sequel to this game. And yet there is. And I don't know. It might be. I mean, it is owned by Microsoft now, but when the game came out, it was not owned by Microsoft. So it was actually a PlayStation exclusive first. I played it on it's on Game Pass. You know what? I don't know. But I'll tell you this. It's a really very well done puzzle strategy game that deals with people suffering from mental illness. And it's a really interesting concept of a game. When you're playing it, it's constantly making you doubt if you're actually playing the game. It really messes with your mind. But it ends in a very definite, final way. And I think the fans of Hellblade, myself included, it was definitely one of my games of the year when I played it. are questioning what the heck can Hellblade 2 possibly be about? Why is Senua still a focal point in this game? And I feel like that's the question they need to answer for us, and they're not. And talking about the caps in Iceland and talking about Jugs McGill, whatever, like, it's really bad. And it's just like, you have a built-in fan base here who's really confused by what's happening. And you have all the executives like, yeah, Hellblade, yeah, let's make more. And it's like, it doesn't work that way.
I felt, and I know that it's easy to pick on them because it genuinely wasn't a good presentation. I felt like this whole thing was slapped together last minute. Even though it was a planned thing, I feel like they tried to bring way more to the table than they were ready to in response to what PlayStation did. Like, I feel like we weren't going to hear that much about these games, or we were going to hear about different games. Like the one guy, what game was that? They didn't even bother to show it. It was just some guy with a weird accent and a blue shirt. Like, we know you're excited. Like, we're remaking this, and it's going to look really good, full 60 frames per second or whatever. It was some weird game. I forget the name of it, but it's like you have a guy talking and then some screenshots. Like, that's the best you could put together for this? Really? Maybe talk about something else. They're like, we're going to talk about 9 of the 15 games currently in development. Well, maybe leave that one that's not fucking ready to be shown out and show one of the other ones. Except, guess what? Those ones suck worse somehow.
Yeah, no, you're right.
PlayStation or Microsoft went out and acquired all these studios to make them first party, and all they're doing is ruining them.
Jesus. They are shitting on our studios, Phil. Phil Spencer is sitting on the 3rd story building with his ass hanging off the railing, saying, all right, bring the next guy in.
Yeah.
And he's just pounding tacos. All right. So
I gotta plug my computer in. Keep talking.
All right. You are, well, this is my question for you, so I'll wait till you come back because this is important. Watching Phil plug in his computer. This is a high-tech show here, guys. Only in War Never Changes can we have a brief intermission for Phil to plug in his computer.
When you're doing the editing, I want you to overdub the Benny Hill theme song.
I can do that. And apparently the outlet Phil is using is 30 to 45 miles away because it's taking a really long time to plug in this computer.
Because I gotta, like, fucking throw myself over the back of my couch. Shut up, Jim.
This is high quality. Folks, I want to take this time to thank you for sticking with us.
Can you imagine if we're ever famous? Like, the people who were with us from the beginning, like, we're going to have to definitely take them on, like, a ski trip or something for tolerating this nonsense. Like, you've been perfect this whole time. It's just me who can't get my shit together.
I love it.
I'm just here to yell and cause distractions.
Amen, brother. All right. I wanted to ask you about the game Avowed by Obsidian Entertainment because I know we're blowing our nose. Are you good? We saw your tooth. We saw your plugging it. Did you just throw that on the floor?
No, my wastebasket's over there.
Okay.
You don't believe me, do you?
No, just sit down. Just quit moving so we listen. We're 28 minutes in. We're on a good run. Okay? Let's keep the train going, baby. You're a big fan of Obsidian Entertainment because Obsidian made your most beloved game. What was that again? Oh, Fallout New Vegas. I know. It was great. It was a fine game. And I know you liked it. Did you see the trailer? And I mean, this is very brief. But they showed a new game that they have working on called Avowed.
I did see it, and I'm pretty excited about it.
It reminded me, a lot of people are saying this is going to be like a Skyrim-esque game. It reminded me, I don't know if you ever played the game Arx Fatalis by my beloved Arcane Studios. But in that game, you drew magic spells with your mouse. And you made things. And it kind of looked like that. It looked like you had a magic hand and a sword hand. not a sword hand like, but I mean like you had a sword in your hand. You'd scratch your nose, but you had it looked like you were doing magic, and it looked like you were drawing something out.
Right.
Okay, so I was excited for that. So I guess I want to clean up my previous statement. Besides Halo and Avowed, this conference sucked eggs. All right. Then we got into this really weird part of the show where they kind of were like, you know what? You could almost see it like processing in real time. I know this was pre-recorded, but you could almost see the Xbox executive saying, you know what? This conference sucks ass. Like, we need help. We're going to go get third-party studios now, and they're going to come in, and we're going to get your juices flowing. Cue to Jack Black.
The worst possible move they could have made.
Which, I love Jack Black. He has his own YouTube channel, which is phenomenal, called Jablinski Games, where each week he plays games. He goes to pinball places. He does skate. It's Jack Black, but with video game emphasis. It's phenomenal. I like him as a video game contributor. I like him as an actor. Psychonauts 2, definitely an acquired taste. But when your entire trailer is the guy recording lines for the game, but not showing you the game again, it really kind of just makes you wonder, like, is this all you guys had to show? Like, hey, we need 5 minutes of filler. Bring in Jack. He can just be goofy and zany, and that'll be good.
Yeah, he'll sing, and the main character of the game will do stuff, and we'll pan around and make it look interesting, when in fact it's not. In fact, we blew 80% of the game's budget retaining Jack Black. Probably. They couldn't even get the full band. Tenacious D is only 2 people. They couldn't get the whole band.
Yeah, the other guy's like, no, I'm good, bro.
Couldn't afford the ball guy.
I'm busy. Yeah, Kyle Gass, I think. Listen, it really got downhill from there for me. We saw Psychonauts 2. Bungie 2's basically bringing all their content over. Stalker 2, Warhammer 40,000. The one that really made me laugh, and like audibly laugh out loud, and my wife was like, what are you laughing about? She's sitting on the couch next to me. I lost my shit legitimately when they showed Tetris Effect. And the reason why, okay, let me tell you why.
Tetris.
I love Tetris Effect. And I played the hell out of it when it came out over a year ago. I played it on PlayStation VR. I loved it. I bought the soundtrack. I played it. I enjoyed it. I beat it. For Xbox to come out and to hype Tetris Effect, a game that has been out on PlayStation 4 now for over a year, done really well in virtual reality, beautiful soundtrack, to have even them bring that out and be like, hey, guys, we're going to have Mario 3. It's like you really have come to the absolute bottom of the barrel when you're showing us a port of a game that is like old as dirt. People have so forgotten about Tetris Effect, trust me. And then to say, well, wait a minute, there's more. It's going to be Tetris Effect Connected, and we're going to add more songs. And then immediately the Tetris Effect Twitter account says, hey, just so you know, if you already bought the game, you're getting all that shit for free too. It was just so bad. Like, they tweeted it like almost exactly when that announcement came out. And it
imagine doing a gameplay conference to launch the most powerful gaming console that's ever been built and thinking, we've got 9 slots. Tetris. Tetris. People can't get enough of Tetris. It's been around since the 80s. People love it.
Just throw it out there. They had a game called The Gunk, which looks cutish.
Looks stupid.
Where you're a girl with a giant robot arm that swallows gunk. That got Phil's attention, everyone. Phil was about this big on the screen.
Did someone say swallow?
I mean, I'm glad they're making games and celebrating all different types of studios, and they're bringing in third parties and they're trying to show the support. But it just really felt out of place when you look at the list, and I have to scroll down to read this list. It's on my screen over here. It's 28 items long. You just have a lot of these games that, like the new Genesis, Phantasy Star Online 2, Crossfire X, the list of the other ones I mentioned before. It just they don't really seem like they're home runs, and I really question. Yes, Otto. I question. They did end. Let me get to this, and then let's finish up the conference, then we'll talk as Xbox as a whole. They ended with Fable. I never was a big fan of Fable, but you said you liked it.
Especially Fable 3.
All right. Fun fact, and then I want to hear why you like Fable 3. I bought Fable 3. I took it home. I played it for about an hour. About an hour. I bought it at GameStop. I took it home. I played it for about an hour. I hated it so much. I took it back to GameStop. I lost my shirt on the resale, and I bought Fallout 3, and I never looked back.
So your introduction to Fallout was Fable.
Ooh, yeah, and $30 right down the shitter.
You're fine.
Let me ask you this. Fable didn't do it for me because I was standing outside a town killing guards, and they just infinitely spawned, and I didn't understand the point of the game, and I deleted it, and I quit. But I want to hear from you. You liked Fable. What was exciting for you about that game?
I like the quirky nature of it. I like how you can kind of go wherever you want and do whatever you want. You have a lot of cool abilities in the game. I don't know. It's just a fun game. You didn't give it enough of a chance. This is like Skyrim on repeat. You didn't get into Skyrim because you didn't give it a long enough time to get past the introductory nonsense. Fable's not an exciting game in the first 4 or 5 hours, but as you get into it, it becomes more engaging and more fun. And there's a lot of cool puzzles too.
Does it play like what do you want out of a new Fable? Do you want like just more of the same? Was there a mechanic or something, like a system you were missing? Like what gets you excited about this game? Just that it's back?
I wouldn't mind basically Fable 3 with a new story and updated graphics. Yeah, hey, why not? They've got a recipe for success. It works.
Okay. I know a lot of people were excited, and clearly Microsoft felt like that was a big enough kind of slam the microphone down announcement.
No.
By that point, I was laughing maniacally and just thinking, I was just reading memes of PlayStation executives laughing at Microsoft executives, and I had totally checked out a long time ago. So I was like, oh, cool, another one. And I was far, far gone from this conference at the time.
DJ Khaled over here. Another one.
So, as a whole, this is what I guess this is what I'm trying to figure out here. This conference mattered because this is Microsoft's best foot forward in getting you, the consumer, to buy a Series X. Would you agree with that statement? That's what this conference was for.
Yeah. What else would it be for?
All I can think is that they just want you to buy Game Pass, and they don't really care if you have it on Series X or your computer or your phone. I feel like the console is not the focus of them anymore. And they're like, hey, we have a console, but don't worry about it because all these games are going to be on Game Pass, and you're going to be able to play them wherever you want.
Yeah, maybe Microsoft's just trying to get out of the console game. Maybe this will be the last console they ever make. It looks like a little computer tower. Maybe this is them bringing people over to gaming computers. Like, we tricked you. It's actually a gaming computer.
Gotcha. Got him. Well, and that's, I guess where I get confused about this, and I really want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I can't honestly believe a company as big and as powerful as Microsoft, run by a guy who I think is incredibly talented, Phil Spencer, who really did bring that company back from, and I was joking about it earlier, but Don Matrick really hosed that company. Bad. And I honestly believe lesser CEOs or presidents, or whatever the hell his title is, and Phil Spencer I really truly believe lesser people would have made that company finally just die. And he did a lot to bring them back from the brink. I really believe that. I can't honestly believe him, with all of his knowledge, sitting in a room full of very intelligent people, thought that this was their best foot forward. And I don't understand the disconnect. And I'm not alone in thinking the negativities here.
Maybe this is all they had.
If that's the case, then maybe just don't do a conference.
How can you not respond to what Sony did a couple weeks ago? How do you not respond to that?
You become Nintendo. Really, I mean, you just say, you know what? We're going to be on our own little stratosphere. We're not going to be direct competitors to you guys anymore because we can't. We don't have the talent you guys do. We don't have the games you guys do. So we're just going to do our own little thing in our own little world. And, you know, if you want to get a PlayStation, that's fine. But don't even think of us in the same, you know, people aren't looking at it going, should I get a Switch or a PlayStation? People aren't looking at it that way. The Switch is in its own world, its own ecosystem, its own games.
No, you know what people are thinking? Should I get a Switch and a PlayStation or a Switch and an Xbox?
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So maybe if Xbox really feels like this was their best foot forward, maybe this is in their own way saying, you know what, we surrender.
Oh, to all current Xbox executives and creatives, shame on you.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe, I mean, I keep waiting for that other shoe to drop. And that's something that we didn't get to address last week with Ubisoft's press conference, but we kind of had a similar feeling. We got done watching it. We chatted about it back and forth. And we're like, you know what? Like, there should have been more. And the big reveal at the end was them saying, we got more coming. And then it's like, okay, maybe. But how many more chances do we give Microsoft and say, you know what? Like, we really do believe in you. We're going to give you a 47th chance to show us.
We've got more coming up at a later date. Or maybe, show me now, dick.
Right. That's what I mean. I mean, really, maybe it's just to that point now where we just look at it and say, well, we tried.
No, they lose. And it's so disappointing because the piece of hardware they're putting out, you know, in relation to what consoles are and the evolution of consoles, this is an engineering marvel. They've packed a lot of power into this tiny little frame, and they've made a lot of power accessible to people who are either intimidated by PCs, like myself, or just have no interest in them. And I just, you know, you put out the most powerful car in the world, your Bugatti. You make another. You redefined what a hypercar was with the Veyron, and then you managed to top that with the Chiron. And then 2, maybe 4 or 5 years later, Bugatti comes out with another car, and it's basically whatever, you know, the next generation is going to be, except we put like a weird gummy worm taped together spoiler on the hood, and that's what this felt like. That's what this felt like. Like they filled it with sugar water.
When you're this far behind in the global sales, when you're this much an underdog, you really have to take chances, I think, because you have nothing to lose. I've been reading that book I've been telling you about. It's called Console Wars. I highly recommend it. It's very, very good. And I'm reading about the first time that Sega went to Computer Entertainment Show up against Nintendo, and how they did such a weird and wild marketing campaign. They believed they were the underdogs because they were, but it worked. And it's kind of like that rope-a-dope, and they actually talk a lot about the rope-a-dope, where it's like, well, we're going to just be very odd and wild, and then at the 11th hour, we're going to do something that you would not expect. And I just don't see that other shoe dropping, and I don't see Microsoft taking any real chances with any of these games. And I don't see them trying. It's just like they've given up, and it's like, hey, you know what? we know Xbox is a failure, but as long as you could bring in, I'm making up a number here, $1 million in sales a year, that's fine. You can keep your job.
I don't know.
I don't feel like they're out for blood. I don't feel like they're like, hey, we just got our ass beat. These guys at PlayStation are coming out with hit after hit after hit. They got 2 major games back to back, which are Game of the Year candidates right now. They got more coming around the corner. We got to get our butts in gear. This feels like, let's throw something together and go have a beer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think Xbox deserves to be compared to Sega in this instance. And I know that you're just using that as an example because that's what the book talked about. But as a little kid, a little boy who had absolutely no interest in dolls or tea sets, Sega made me want to play a video game about being a dolphin. Okay, Sega was an exciting thing. Pole position. I wish that I was excited about the most technologically advanced gaming console we've ever had as I was about a Sega.
Yeah. I don't know how Microsoft really comes back from this. And I don't know if they ever are going to release a game that really flexes the power of the Series X. I know a lot of their sales was really, not their sales, their marketing material is really driven towards how powerful it is, the most powerful console, 12 teraflops, blah, 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 blah. But if you don't have anything to back it up, those are kind of just hollow numbers. It doesn't really mean much anymore. And, remember the Nintendo was significantly underpowered to the Sega Genesis and still outsold them even before the Super Nintendo came into play.
12 teraflops of power to play Tetris.
In 4K, 60 frames a second. As the little block goes down, it's going to be so buttery smooth. I don't know, man. I really want to believe in them. And, as a person who's gotten to go to FanFest twice and meet people that I idolize, straight up idolize, and talk to them like human beings, and for Nintendo, and for Microsoft to put on that event and to invite fans and give them backstage VIP passes to E3 and just tons and tons of swag and gear and game codes. I have Game Pass Ultimate for the next 5 years through FanFest. And headphones, backpacks, shirts, codes, you name it. They've basically opened the vault. And I don't care about the material stuff. It's nice, but I don't care. But it's the experiences. It's getting to go talk with Major Nelson. It's getting to go talk with Chris Lee. It's getting to go talk with Rod Ferguson and Phil Spencer and Matt Booty. That's what she said. All these famous people. And to me, at least, if you're a gamer, these are people you recognize. And the fact that they seem so passionate about gaming and what they do, and they put on this great event, I want to root for them. I really do. But I just find as time goes on, I don't want to say hate, but I'm just so let down over and over again. I just don't even care anymore. I'm like, just die already. If this is what you guys think you can bring, don't waste anyone's time. You're done. Sell your IP to somebody else. Let them make it better. And you guys just go make computers, and that's fine.
Yeah. I don't know. The Xbox One was a disappointment. The Xbox Series X hasn't even come out yet, and I'm disappointed with it. Just because
so sad.
Just because the lack of support. I just feel like I don't know if Xbox needs to make another console after this. I don't know what the point would be.
Yeah.
They had 7 years to learn from their past mistakes. Don Matrick must have had a business plan. They could just read that, and whatever was in his business plan, they just write, do the opposite, and follow that model, and it probably would have been great. And they're just like, you know what? This guy had some good points.
Yeah, really. The idea of the gamer first, I applaud that. I applaud the great value that comes with Game Pass, although it's free for me, but I understand the value behind it. I understand what they're trying to do. I understand the direction that they think they're trying to go with making this global Game Pass umbrella where you can play from any device, but they're not really taking chances. And these Game Pass games, because I review them all the time, I have another review coming up tomorrow on another one, they're throwaway games. You're going to play them for an hour and you're going to delete them because they're boring. And everything I see on this list, with the exception of maybe 3 or 4 games out of the 28, are ones that I would say, I'm into that. And I would really enjoy playing that. I would spend $60 on that experience. I would really like to try. It's like, we're just going to throw so much shovelware at you guys. And we're going to say, look, it's great value. But none of these games are going to make you feel good inside. And none of these games are good. We don't even have gameplay for them yet. It's these hokey trailers. But hey, Game Pass, look at it. It's a library. It's 1,000 games, whatever. Come play. Come give us your money. We'll make more games that you're just not going to care about. And I feel like the sustainment model of it, and I don't know the financials behind it, I don't see it sustaining when people see this list and they're like, I'm going to PlayStation. I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know what else to say.
So I guess in closing on this topic, moving on to a couple other things, and then we'll wrap up. It seems that between this and Ubisoft, it seems like this whole, E3 is gone, but we're going to have the summer of games. It seems like it's not really going as planned.
I don't know. Maybe we're just brats. Who knows?
I definitely expect more. At the same time, when you're locked in the room, yes, I think our desires and our thought processes are just spinning of like what it could be, because we're just sitting around waiting for something to happen. But if I was in a theater full of people watching this Xbox event, you'd probably cheer a little more because it's just the energy, the hype, that big fight type, arena feeling. But I suspect a lot of these games would come out and everyone would go, oh, just be this flat. Like, I don't really think I don't really feel like, the amount of time these guys have had to do something, I feel like they're not pushing themselves hard enough. And I don't know why. Maybe it's just mental stress of just the world falling down around us. I don't know. But I look at this as an escape, and I also look at this somewhat as a competition. And I want to root for both teams and see them win, but this is just, it's a blowout. It sucks.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't know where the good stories are anymore, man. I don't know who's hiding them or who has them, or maybe PlayStation has all the good storytellers. I'm not sure, but I was really looking forward to this game show, whatever the presentation that was earlier this afternoon, and I just I don't know. I can't help but feel like I've been betrayed. I've been an Xbox loyalist for a long time.
Yeah.
I buy both consoles, but it's an 80-20 split on games I buy for my PlayStation versus my Xbox. If it's a first party game I really have to have from PlayStation, that's where I buy it. If it's available on both, I always buy it on Xbox. So I've given them probably tens of thousands of dollars over the years, and they've repaid me with nothing.
You get nothing. So, yeah, I guess to close out on a somewhat positive note, we have been playing Forza Horizon 4.
Yes.
And you are now soundly in love with this game. It's good. You're enjoying it. We have created our own iteration of the game where we drive around and we play tag because we can't seem to get in races with each other half the time. For whatever reason. I don't know. I don't know why they can't figure the multiplayer piece out. Whatever. I think it's a fun time killer just to chat and drive around and laugh and stuff. I'm curious with the direction of this Forza Motorsport if the Horizon franchise goes away. Or if we see it as like a subset or like a mode in Forza and it loses that arcadey feel. I'm not really sure, but I'm curious. What do you think? Do you think that we're gonna see a Horizon 5, or do you think it's gonna morph into just Horizon World or something?
We better see our Horizon 5. This is a fun game. This reminds me of Need for Speed Underground or Need for Speed Underground 2. Those were both phenomenal games. Under the first one being more so than the second one, but this reminds me of that, and they've captured that energy. And this is a fun game. The barn finds or whatever. You and I flying around through the forest at 200 miles an hour trying to tag one another. You constantly getting your fucking cheeks clapped.
I like to drive the Warthog, and it's slow, and I don't care. And I'm not in any rush. And I know that's so counterintuitive to a racing game, but I really just don't care.
Jim's like, this isn't Halo, but I've got a Halo vehicle.
It's the closest I could get when I can't play Halo to playing Halo. That's right. I'll take what I could get. The Warthog, I think, tops out at maybe 115. It turns like a boat. The only thing I feel like with the Warthog is it should, since it's so slow, it should be able to go through all the trees. I feel like that's the trade-off. You want a slow car that accelerates very slowly. You don't even get a 50 cal in the back of this thing. Fine. But you know what? You are immortal. You will never stop. Once you give this car gas, short of driving off in the water, which I have done, you are going to just go forever. And I need that in my life. And that pisses me off to no end when I have gained a surmountable lead on your Subaru, whatever the hell you drive. And then I hit a tree and it takes so long to get going. And I'm like, well, I'm screwed. And I can hear you giggling as you just slam in the back of my Warthog doing like 100 something. And I'm doing like 10. Because it's just like, come on, man. That's what I need.
What you folks at home don't know, because some of you don't have the privilege of playing online games with Jim is a professional, like Navy SEAL level shit talker. That's all he does. He loads into a game and he's like, Phil, you ready to eat my ass and sniff my dust? And then immediately I'm clapping his cheeks at this game and he's just like, you're cheating. It never stops. It's either he's going to kick my ass or if he's losing, he's calling me a cheater or something like that.
This is true.
It's very entertaining, but you have to take all this bitching with a grain of salt because, I'm running into trees. You chose the fucking car that's the size of an 18-wheeler and tried to drive it 100 miles an hour through a forest. That's your fault.
This is true. I will say I am glad you commend me on my level of shit talking because I make myself laugh. I'm cracking up like a maniac. I can't even finish my jokes half the time. And you're like all serious, and I'm just being an asshole. I really am.
I'm not being serious. You're just not as funny as you think you are. When you say something funny, I typically laugh like an imbecile. But like right now, when you think you're being so funny because the thought of you being funny makes you laugh for some weird reason.
Yes.
It's not that funny.
I think it's hysterical. And I'm my own biggest fan. So it's fun to play. It's a good distraction from the headaches that were Grand Theft Auto. It's fun to play in between Call of Duty when everybody cheats. For real. Except us, apparently.
I don't know how to cheat. I would if I could.
I would totally cheat if I could because I want to win. And I'm so tired of being on the team with like the guy who's 3 and 90 and shooting at me. And I'm like, no. Aim that way. Go.
Yeah. If the letters above my head are not red, don't shoot me.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I think we've said it all, but is there anything else you want to bring up? Or are you good? You get it all out of your system? I know we were off last week. You good?
Ubisoft, thank you for being a good guy amongst all the assholes. Ubisoft's whatever, where they talked about Far Cry 6 and everything else they launched, I was impressed with that. I felt like they did a great job. And they addressed feedback immediately because there wasn't a pre-order option for the PS5, and they let people know you buy it on PS4, you're going to get PS5 version for free. So, good for you, good guy Ubisoft.
Despite the fact the company is falling apart due to insane amount of sexual allegations and
shut the fuck up, Jim.
But despite that, Phil is happy that he can pre-order the game. And despite the fact it's packaged in women's tears, Phil Who's gonna commend them?
Fine, fuck you, Ubisoft. Stop making games.
They need to. I agree with you. I like that they're doing the forward capability stuff, and I think this is just yet another. Not to beat the dead horse. When Xbox was so hot about this smart delivery, and they were like, "We got this great deal. You buy it once," and Ubisoft's like, sir, we're all doing that," and they're like, "Oh, but we got some delivery." It's like,
But have you heard about Game Pass?
that's right. So, what are your thoughts on this 5-second CGI trailer? So, I will say, though, that I am intrigued by Ubisoft. Assuming you are a smart man and you buy Far Cry for the PlayStation, we will be able to finally play Far Cry together.
Oh, are you advocating that we continue to support Ubisoft despite them being huge pieces of shit? Is that what you're saying, Jim?
I pre-ordered a Far Cry. Well, my wife pre-ordered Far Cry. A woman pre-ordered Far Cry 6 because Amazon had a price error and it was like $20 off. And I'll tell you what, $20 is $20.
So, everyone, what Jim has just said is that he thinks it's awful what they're doing, but fuck it, I got a good deal.
That's right. I mean, look, I'm not happy about it. I think a lot of the stuff.
The whole time I'm playing the game, like
I'm gonna be so mad.
I bet some woman was being abused while they were developing this rock.
Right. I don't mind. Look, I don't want that to happen to anybody, and I'm definitely against it. But I don't know. I know they say speak with your wallet. I know that, but I've never. I will be an advocate for those people. I don't know how, but if it's a good game, I'm gonna play it. I don't know what to say it any other way. I'm a gamer. I'm gonna play your games. I try to keep the.
Jim says vote with your wallet, but when he takes his pants off at night, there's a PlayStation emblem on his ass.
I knew we'd bring it back to this prop. I knew it. What I do is I put it in the microwave so it's really warm, so I sear it on my skin, and then it's like a little mini tat. Yeah. Hey, listen. They got my heart. They got my wallet. They can do no wrong.
All right, let's close this thing out.
All right. Well, this has been a wild, wild ride. Glad to have you back, Phil. Glad your tooth is in a little container and you figured out how to plug your computer. And we learned a lot today. We really did. But what is the number one thing that we learned, Phil?
The number one thing that we learned is that war never changes.